Canada is a mosaic of peoples and communities expressed in an array of diverse cultural and ethnic backgrounds. Nestled amongst its adult population lies a young segment of citizens, Canada's children, whose lived experiences and voices are worthy of recognition. Kids LiveWire provides a platform for exchange of ideas and topics of interest to children and families. Our show highlights the voices and perspectives of children, as well as their everyday lived experiences and personal stories. This is Kids LiveWire. What are the experiences of children in changing times? We hear from parents and educators how societal changes are impacting our children and the experience of childhood. What has or has not in fact changed in the lives of children today? How are these changes affecting and transforming how children interact within the home, with peers, in educational and cultural institutions, and society at large? Here's a highlight of the voices of young children on this topic.
At home, I like to play with Power Rangers because it can move. I usually play on my iPad and play video games, and sometimes I play some board games and go fish. Me and my friends usually grab a notebook or a sheet of paper and go outside in the gazebo and draw. Transformers, because sometimes it's transformed into a car and the people. My Hot Wheel cars, because they can go really fast on my track. Color, Thopkins, and the stamps, and I like to read. Well, in the meantime, I love playing with my train tracks a little bit. And when it's soon bedtime, I like playing with my little big fire trucks. Build boats and play games with my mom and dad. I play with my daddy, and then daddy and me have princesses. I usually play soccer at recess, and I do my science in class because I love the subject science. I do art class. I like to do art and draw, and sometimes math.
We welcomed Ava, Charlotte, and Hudson as our youth panel to explore their perspectives on how societal changes are affecting their everyday experiences. Reflecting on the history of Canadian society, what might have been the experiences of children 20 years ago, and how are these different from your experiences?
Well, I would say a big one is technology. When my parents were younger, they only had a single computer in their house, and that affected how they played. They would play outside more, but today there's a lot more technology in houses, and so lots of kids might want to stay inside and play more.
I also find that today's technology, how technology is in our lives is with education. Personally, I find that most kids are lacking in grammar because they rely on the spell check on the computer or their phone or whatever device they're on.
So what are some changes that you have observed in society and culture at large, and how have these changes impacted you?
A change that has impacted myself is the fact that people are more acceptance to society with thoughts, especially with religion, race, sexuality, and has impacted myself and others around me because people can be more open with who they are, and you don't get judged or punished because of your thoughts or particularly of who you are.
Well, I feel like school is a big one. There's so much more school than there was when our parents were younger and when our grandparents were younger. There's so much. I think it's a 7-hour day, and they try to give us a half day on Fridays. I'm not sure how it's a half day, it's only an hour shorter, but they call it a half day. Anyways, it's so long, and I'm so tired at the end of each week, and it's just really hard to get through it all. I feel like school itself would be easier if we had more breaks.
So what is one change that, if implemented, could positively impact your life and the lives of other children, both now and in the future?
Well, here's an example. My family likes to go out to dinner a lot, and so some of the times we've been there, we've noticed that there's been families just on their phone, heads down, not talking to their children, and I think that can impact their relationships with their kids. I think that a change, we could take family before technology.
I think a change that I find is more of education. People are relying, even in subjects like mathematics, that the computer is the use, the gadget in front of you is everything you have to be with. I find, and what I want personally is to take time away from the computer, learn how to properly understand vocabulary, not use a dictionary, like a proper book dictionary, the one on the internet, and take time to understand what the words mean, how to spell them, instead of relying on a gadget that we don't need forever.
I feel like paying attention and learning how to do things is a great skill to have today, because you need to know how to do things to do things. If you're applying for a job at, where's a good place? McDonald's or whatever, and you don't know how to make a burger or what a burger is, you won't be able to do anything. But if you paid attention in burger making class, because that's a thing, then you would know how to do that, and you'd be more likely to get that job. Now, that's not an ideal example, but it works.
It makes a point.
Yeah.
Thanks, Charlotte. So what skills or opportunities do children need to be successful both now and in the future?
A skill personally that I find that I need in the future I should have learned when I was younger, is perseverance and leadership. I didn't know what perseverance meant when I was younger, and I find that if I knew what it meant and how to do it, I would be more successful even at the age of 14 than I am now. I find also leadership could help you even in a younger age, and you can gain it up till you're older. Because even just a simple job, just working in a small company as an intern or something, you can actually excel with that skill to help others and to help your group in the future.
No and yes, kind of, because they would have quite a lot of the same sports that we have. Like my mom did gymnastics and stuff, but they wouldn't have like any iPads or iPhones or anything like that.
Oh yes, probably. I know my aunt used to wander into my mom's room, and that's why my mom kept all her toys under her bed and stuff. And so they like to play together and go on little adventures together. And I know that my dad used to play with Lego and stuffies too.
Don't know, but it was a long time. But now it's not a long time. They probably played maybe board games, or they maybe went outside or played tag at school or did something like that.
Dad probably played with cars, and my mom maybe Barbie dolls.
They could have played with their friends.
Our experts, Dr. Shirley Steinberg, Professor of Youth Studies at the University of Calgary, and Connie Jacob, founder of WILD, Women Impacting Lives Daily, and Impact Dance, and author of Culture Rebel, also weighed in on this topic. What are your thoughts on children's experiences today compared to yours while you were growing up?
That's a really good question. Sometimes I think they're absolutely different. Other times I think they're exactly the same. I think there's core parts of being a kid that haven't changed much. Suspicion of adults, expectant of immediate gratification, desire to play, boredom. I think those are normal kid things. I think what's different, well, how we live our lives. I think how parents are, the home structure is very different as well. What do you think?
I definitely agree with that. Homes are busier. Technology, there's more of it. I can't speak for every child, but I can speak for my children. My 2 boys have access to 3 gaming systems, not just one. Wow. 3 gaming systems, and I notice what that type of technology at their fingertips does to them. They are boys, they have ADHD, so video games tend to be something they are drawn to, but I notice what it does to them when they come off of these games. I notice that dopamine level, that stimulation, when they come off, a bike ride might seem more boring. And there's a little bit more tension with wanting to go back to the game to solve the boredom. So I noticed that that's a little different than when I was growing up, and all I had was one Nintendo system with one game.
Well, is that ADHD, or is that just bored kids because things aren't very interesting?
True.
True. I'm not sure that there's a condition. I think maybe the world just is boring.
Well, and their imaginations are huge. If I can't build a zip line in the backyard, well, I can do something on my video game that's more exciting.
That's a good point. So the video game fulfills what we can't do as regular people.
Because the imagination is so big.
Absolutely.
And it goes back to some of these changes that our children are facing today and how it impacts on their lives and everyday experiences. Do you want to comment on that?
Well, I'll just roll with what you began with the notion of technology, which is accessible even to very disenfranchised people. And it's not just rudimentary technology, it's the 7 or the 8 of the phone or of the thing that even the parents or caregivers don't even have access to. And so when we have access to technology, that sort of means we also have access to money or to capital that helps us get this. It keeps us, or the kids that are using it, from being centered. It gives us much more. It's not returning to the World Book for information. It's, I've got information right here.
Yeah, I do notice that, just the idea that they have so much information, they can know so much about everything. Right. When my boys ask me a question and I don't know the answer, which is fairly often, I just say, well, let's Google it. And they have answers like right away to everything. And that means that the world is their oyster. And I find that in schools that kids want more than sometimes what we're giving them. They want experiential learning. They want to hands-on, get their hands dirty. They want, it almost seems chaotic, some of these classrooms that are actually working.
Absolutely.
Where they can discuss and interact and be noisy about their learning. It's different for people who grow up in my generation where we were told to sit down and listen and write from whatever we saw.
That's true. I've seen parents get very upset if they walk into a classroom and there's kids on the ground and running, or independent children seem to upset parents a bit when a classroom is just turned over to, okay, just do it, or improvise this, or how would you solve this problem? Sometimes those at home are not comfortable with kids having that much decision-making power.
And that's powerful. Kids do have more permission to make decisions, and sometimes that's good. And I see the other flip side. I see how that can cause some anxiety in children. My son, in particular, struggles with anxiety, and I'm not exactly 100% sure where it comes from. Possibly our busy life, stressful lives, trying to make an income to pay for what it takes to live in Calgary. So I'm not sure if choice is a part of some of the issues that they might face, or those other things.
So what do you think are the skills that our children need to be successful in today's changing society?
I know what I think. I just came to me when you said that, and then listening to Connie. We need media literacy. And it's not taught in the schools. Kids do not, and adults for that matter, do not know how to handle the information fire hose that the internet is. They don't know how to discern what is good information, what is bad. I mean, certainly we have had the conversation about fake news, the fact that people repost on the internet something that's not even true. And that idea of how do we know to ask the questions, is this true, is this false? Is this product as good as it's guaranteed to about? Is this thing in our hands, this phone, this pad, this computer, this device, this game, is this making my life more enriched? Is it giving me a question? Who invented it? What was the point? There is no hook in our education system, at least in our provincial education system, to be alert and literate about the media that's being thrown at us, the technology that you're talking about.
I couldn't agree more. That is so powerful. I think that the internet's not going away, YouTube isn't going away, and so how do we help our kids navigate going on YouTube and filtering out some of the things that might not be age appropriate? For example, when my 2-year-old went on and found that Elmo has a gun, you know, that's not appropriate for a 2-year-old. But we saw Elmo and we clicked. And so how do we navigate? How do we help parents navigate? How do we help our kids navigate and care about their internal world and what they can handle and what they can't?
That's true. You know, in schools they'll say, well, open the door for someone, or be respectful, say please, say thank you, all these old-fashioned manners, which are still good, but that's what they're still taught. But they're never taught how to have that thing in your brain that says, this is not a good thing. Just because I have access to it doesn't mean it's a good thing.
Yes, and in our world of technology, we need that.
Right,
Yeah.
I agree.
Some of these critical thinking skills are necessary
right.
today. Thank you for being with us on our show today.
Now we have a lot of more technology, which means that we can have more fun on the internet, and back then that didn't even exist.
A wide basis of communication, such as better improved cell phones now that we actually have them, better electrical wires, and we have really good modern technology. How we use phones, iPads, and other electronics. Probably the playgrounds.
In this episode, we provided an assemblage of voices of children and youth as they narrated their perspectives on societal changes that are impacting their lives and creating significant shifts in their daily lived experiences. Technology remains a main force in children's lives in these changing times. Our experts highlight the need for media literacy and the development of critical thinking skills to support our children and youth's virtual and online lives. Our children and youth remind us of the importance of the skill of attending or paying attention, strong literacy development, leadership and initiative taking, and real-life social relationships and connections. My name is Amorisa Ganink, and this is Kids LiveWire. As we unplug, I leave you with some wise words from children of what we can learn about play. Until next time.
Use your imagination. It provides a wide of creativity and allows people to use their imagination freely. So always be safe. That was all.